What's up, y'all? It's your boy, the one and only A Switch, aka the Taco Meat Tyrant, aka the Lazy Eye Leviathan, aka who keeps sniffing, snorting all my damn whipped cream. I've recently discovered, I guess that's apparently a thing now, that like I think it's if people are actually like snorting whipped cream, like cans, like the aerosol cans. I guess it applies to pretty much technically any like can based spray item, but it seems in particular whipped cream. I'm just taking all my damn whipped cream, snorting it. Let me stop. AKA the undisputed, uncontested, undefeated social distancing champion. Bringing you yet another episode of Switches Sites, episode 109 to be exact. Today's date is June 17th, 2021. Them heat waves, at least in Southern California or California in general. I think Texas as well. Ooh. Right when you go outside. Ooh. Yeah, so that heat wave is going out. It's going out, and hopefully, I mean it's showing no mercy, that's for sure. So if you see an old person laying down, so wrong. If you see an old person laying down, they might not be laying down voluntarily. I'm so sorry, old people. I'm so sorry. You might want to check up on them, just in case. Just in case. Check that heartbeat. Old people falling down aside. Oh, life alert. Oh no. So technically E3 is officially over. Post E3, we are in that period right now. And yeah, so I know we technically from last episode covered the Summer Games Fest, and I guess that was pretty much it before everything else popped off with E3 the following weekend or something like that. So, well, yeah. So, this is pretty much the basis of this whole episode, just announcements on announcements on announcements. Boy, we got a pretty packed episode this week. So you know what? Without further ado, let's stop the dilly-dallying and get right into it. So at least I think I'm not gonna cover man, because that'd be ordeal. I'm not gonna cover literally everything that happened through all these. I'm just highlighting majority of the things that at least piqued my interest. And I'll probably skip some shows that weren't necessarily noteworthy as well. But, either way, I mean, the gist of E3, I think I pretty much got down pat. Yeah. So, with that being said, actually, let me get my time codes. You know what I'm gonna do? Cause I'm ballsy. I'm gonna duplicate my sheet. That's something you shouldn't do, but you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna duplicate the sheet. Sheet is being duplicated. Let's see. Yeah, so first starting off, Ubisoft Forward. I think they technically I believe they technically we're one of the first to start it off, but um let me get my time right. That's how you do it, right? I think so. Yeah, so the Ubisoft Forward had some decent stuff, nothing revolutionary, but at least they started off with I'm pretty sure Rainbow Six Extraction. So they obviously changed the name from Rainbow Six Quarantine, for obvious reasons, a la, particular virus that's going around as of late. Um and they showed a pretty interesting trailer, a CGI trailer for like the concept of the game, and then thankfully I think had a couple of us worried that they weren't actually going to get into the actual literal gameplay of the game, which they did to a reasonable extent. So it seems to have some stealth elements to the game. You're facing aliens basically. It's like, I guess, a alien take on zombies kind of, if to even have some type of relativity to other stuff. But it seemed pretty interesting. I mean, I'd have to play it to fully get the grasp of everything, but it was cool. It seemed interesting enough. I definitely am at least interested enough to give it a try, if anything. Having not played too much of the base game Rainbow Six, which I do like the concept. I've just never got around to sticking with it. I played, a couple matches here and there, very long extended periods in between. But yeah, this definitely interests me. I like the one factor that they can take your enemies. Well, no, I think if you die during one of these missions, you'll get, if you die during one of the missions, you'll get extracted. I think that's the term they use, unless I just have the title in my head. But I believe you'll get extracted, and then after that, you cannot no longer use that. What's the terminology they use for agents? I think agent or hero. I'm just gonna say hero. They'll take your hero, and you can't play with them until you save them, or I guess extract them from captivity. Which I think I'm guessing they do like a case by case thing where on a conditional instance, if you get killed or technically killed, then you get captured, and then that maybe proposes a new mission where you have to save the person to stop them from being captured or something like that. I'm guessing, at least that's at least my impression of what that is. So, but yeah, all in all, I'm interested. I definitely would give it a shot when it comes out. I want to say, I don't think they gave a release date, but actually, let me double check. Oh, September 16th. Okay, I was thinking it was somewhere around Halloween. It would make sense. Then they also revealed Assassin's Creed Valhalla DC DLC, where there's supposedly a you can now use one-handed weapons. I assume I have not played Valhalla that you couldn't have a one-handed weapon, which seems very weird. It seemed like that game would have one-handed weapons. I don't know, but either way, so there's that. Then what was pretty interesting for a Far Cry 6, it's still very vague and ambiguous as to what it means, but they did show for Far Cry 6 there's gonna be some DLC where you presumably like play as each of the recent Far Cry villains. So I think the infamous Vaz from Far Cry 3, I forgot the Asian guy from Far Cry 4, and then the what the red I'm just gonna say redneck dude from Far Cry 5. Apparently, the DLC is gonna involve them in some way. It seems to be pretty vague as to how they're gonna be implemented. I'm assuming that each like a separate DLC pack is just gonna have them as their like maybe some segmented like possibly missing a DLC that maybe connects with each of their like respective stories or something like that. I don't know. But yeah. So you got that. That it seems interesting. I think they also showed some VR stuff, or maybe I'm getting that mixed up with something else, but seemed interesting nonetheless. There. Then after that, you got Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope. That seems that something about that subtitle just seems like, I don't know. It just seemed like you just put that in the ad lib machine or playing the ad lib game, and that just comes together. You're like, you know what? Actually, that might be a good idea for a game. Sparks of, I gotta do it. Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope. I like it. I do like it. So, I guess, yeah. I mean, you know, Mario got guns. He was on the front cover showing them he has guns. I know Mario Rabbids is generally a tactical strategy game, which I mean, I dabble here and there. I don't know if I would ever find the time to play this, but it does seem pretty interesting. I know they Ubisoft or whoever has this fascination with making like all of the Mario characters, or at least a decent amount of the Mario characters, like rabid-fied, where they look like a very deranged, very off version. Like I think they did Princess Peach. Now I think they're doing Rosalina. That's like, I guess, the big reveal here. I definitely can anticipate like a lot of more Nintendo characters being rabified. I guess that's the best, the closest reference I could give. Then towards the end, or pretty much the one more thing type of announcement, they announced the Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, which I guess is, I mean, I don't think I've fully watched Avatar, but it wasn't my cup of tea. But I mean, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of hardcore Avatar fans. Let me phrase, not Avatar: The Last Airbender. That's not this game. This is James Cameron's Avatar with the blue aliens. And you know, I think, wasn't it the story about like a dude that he was a normal person and he somehow turned himself into an alien or something like that to try and, I don't know, be undercover, something like that. But I mean, I don't think anybody was expecting this. I think this seems to be a game that's been under wraps for a good while. So yeah. All in all, I mean, it did, this Ubisoft didn't have no Splinter Cell at all. So based off that unfortunate part of this event, I have to give it a C. Sam Fisher has been dormant too long. He's just somewhere, you know, just waiting for the moment to break somebody's neck. But Ubisoft is not giving him a chance. But you know, but he's in all these mobile games, and oh yeah, he's a freaking operator in Rainbow Six. But no, we can't give him his own stealth game that's been pretty deprived as of late. But I digress. Overall, at least personally, I'd have to give Ubisoft Forward. I would I'd have to give it a C. It was okay. It could have done a lot of stuff better. I'm very surprised of the lack of For Honor stuff. Normally they generally always give some update or something for Honor. I was expecting that, didn't even see that. Just something like I know they've been regularly doing these periodical DLC updates, but that's been pretty much it. So I don't know. But yeah, I give it. You know what? I give it a C minus. I'm sorry. We need Sam Fisher back. We need somebody to keep holding this mantle, this stealth. What do you call it? Stealth espionage action espionage to stealth. I don't stealth espionage action. I think that's the actual one. But yeah. So, moving on to what was the Devolver Direct, which was actually pretty cool. You know, Devolver, for those that don't know, Devolver has a very, how would you describe them? A very tongue-in-cheek, maybe? Tongue-in-cheek kind of, even, I'd say even like Tim and Eric spin. If you watch, shout out to Tim and Eric's awesome show. They used to air on Adult Swim, and what was before that, Tom Goes to the Mayor on Adult Swim. You know, that type of humor. I think they actually did do the Old Spice commercials with the ones with Terry Crews in them. Oh, Old Spice swagger. You know, he just always ends his sentences. Oh, that's my best impression. So yeah, it definitely has that vibe to it where it just gets really existential and out there and all in one. But it was funny. It was a lot of funny moments I did like. You got what's her name? She was going into town on some chili cheese dogs like relentlessly. Yeah, then there's they have a black guy in there and he was like, "Hey man, that ain't cool." You know, I mean, every place should have that. I mean, to be honest, just to keep things down. But I digress. Announcement wise, they had at least some games that I was interested in. Shadow Warrior 3, which was pretty interesting. It seemed to be a mix of what is it called? Bulletstorm and Doom. It definitely felt like if Bulletstorm and Doom had a baby, it would be Shadow Warrior 3. It has a lot of like over the top stylish action, and then on the other side there is whatchamacallit, a lot of the Doom like quick jumpy just arcadey aspect from that end as well, which at least to me I was like, yeah, sign me up for that. Then outside of that, they also showed a Trek to Yomi, which is definitely like a very the style and design is pretty awesome. It gives you a how would I describe it? It's like a Kurosawa film type of vibe where, you know, everything is black and white, and, you know, it's set in feudal Japan, so it has kind of overall that general feel to it, which yeah, I'm not sure what this game is, but I'm interested. Sign me up. Let me get that let me get that pamphlet. Hold on. Let me get the business card. Let me get that business card though. So yeah, that was pretty much at least Devolver Direct. Oh yeah, I forgot. It was this girl. She was spitting some stuff. Well, not literally. She was just saying some, our company views, blah, blah, blah. But as she's saying that and walking forward, Like shit is blowing up behind her, and she's like really like just maintaining her composure. She's like trying her best not to flinch. If you look really hard, you can tell she is flinching occasionally, but she's a good one. I don't know if I could do that. Just my natural reflexes, the spidey senses, if you will, might kick in. But yeah, so then was the Gearbox presentation, which was oh yeah, real quick for Devolver. I don't consider it a really big one, so I don't know. I don't think it's fair to judge that. So never mind. For Gearbox, they re-showed Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, which appeared at Summer Games Fest. Then they went into like the Borderlands movie, like ridiculously way too long, and just that technically felt like the whole highlight. Well, not highlight, but the I don't know, a focus of the show, where they like went too much into this Borderlands movie, which is like, no, this is E3 is not the place to go all in on your Borderlands movie. I'm sorry. And then on top of that, the questionable person, Randy Pitchford, he was talking to Kevin Hart, and it was just awkward as hell. Like he was trying to get a high five. Kevin didn't even pay him no mind. Like, no man, I ain't. It was just weird. Kevin Hart kind of was, saving it a little bit, his natural comedic funniness here and there, but overall it's just too much time. They literally spent like, it felt like 15 minutes on that, showing like the direction of the movie, some of the actors, and that's no, don't do that. Especially of all places at E3, like have that as a separate YouTube video you release or something. But all you have literally pretty much all of the gaming community focused on this, and this is what you're no, don't. Then on then on top of that, they premiered Homeworld, and then but they kept doing it, like I think they did it 3 times in the show, like almost as if it's a commercial, but it wasn't, because it wasn't much content within this presentation, so it came off super weird. So kind of soured the taste, I would assume, for people that were excited for Homeworld 3. Then I mean, just even making it weirder, I don't know, I don't think you would, this just doesn't seem like something you would just announce at E3. I think this is pretty much the ongoing theme for Gearbox, but they premiered Godfall, or they premiered that it's coming to PS4. So basically, I mean, I think it's evident that Godfall hasn't sold that well. So Godfall isn't selling that well on PS5, so everybody's getting on PS4 as well. It's again, it's just, this is just something you don't announce at E3, like especially within your whole within your time slot that you have everybody geared to look at. Which so all that aside, that's pretty much all Gearbox had to show. So based off those, have to give this one a hard ass E, straight up E. I mean, maybe Tiny Tina's Wonderlands may have saved it, but they showed the exact same trailer from Summer Games Fest, so it was all bad. Showing 15 minutes of the Borderlands movie, well, not even the Borderlands movie, more of a behind the scenes type deal of something that's questionably has a reputation in the, I'd say I would argue in the movies industry as likely to be bad unless proven otherwise. I mean, there's a couple of video game related movies that have been proven that otherwise, like well, I mean, Mortal Kombat I thought was pretty good. but you know, the fact that I can't even like immediately recall in my head, just, I think explains itself really. So yeah, I'm give it a big hearty. Yeah, just did. Whoever did this did not read the room really. I mean, just did not read it at all. So, um, Xbox and Bethesda. Let's go with that. Talk about a very strong showing. Xbox and Bethesda. Whew, they came for blood this E3. They first they showed off Starfield, which has been the longly and highly anticipated next, I guess, original IP from Bethesda. They showed they showed the engine and what the game will technically most likely look like when it's finished, which was interesting. Not enough to like really get a full gist, but enough to like satiate, I think, people's curiosity, which overall I thought looked pretty good. I know what's been this recent like reoccurring rumor with this long reoccurring rumor that people have been seeing from this trailer is that supposedly there's a Skyrim map in it somehow. I think in some aspects, some shot where something looks eerily like the Skyrim map or something like that. And I'm like, wow, y'all are very dedicated, because I would not even care enough to look into that much detail. They also showed Redfall, which is, I guess, basically a new IP from, I think, Arcane Studios, the people behind what was it? What is it called? It's to do with the mask, Corvo. It's like I know the characters' names. What was it? Dishonored. Yeah, Dishonored. And I think they're now I think they're working on an exclusive for PlayStation 5, which is the Deathloop game. So I guess they have I'm assuming a small team working on this exclusive for Xbox, Redfall, where basically we only got like a CGI trailer, but it definitely was a very interesting like look into what the possibility of this game will be. But it has what it seems to be a very assorted group of people of four. At least the one that stands out to me is this black girl, where she's a vampire, but she has telepathic skills, where this is a pretty dope ass moment. I don't think I've ever seen that, like somebody literally reloading their gun with their telepathy by like literally like loading the shells with her telepathic skills, which is pretty dope. That was pretty awesome. But yeah, it seems to be just like a vampire hunting game, kind of. It seems majority of the enemies were vampires. I think they pretty much all were vampires. But yeah, it seemed pretty cool. I'm definitely interested in the to see how this comes to be and turns out. Then they showed Stalker 2, which is looked pretty dope. I liked what they did, where you can like, I guess you can throw metal and trace some of what the enemies look like. Having no prior knowledge of the Stalker series, at least the game did look pretty appealing. It seemed like the trailer was like, it had like a campfire, story kind of a discussion, and then after that they went on the field and showed some aspects of the game, which was cool. I'm interested as somebody not fully aware of like the Stalker series. It definitely caught my attention. Then Game Pass just, I mean, I think that's technically was the ongoing theme throughout this whole event. They announced a lot of Game Pass games. Hades is getting a physical version and coming on Game Pass. Yakuza 7, aka Yakuza Like a Dragon in the West, is came. I think it just dropped on Game Pass that Sunday. Back for Blood coming to Game Pass day one, which is crazy. That's I think that's freaking huge. If for people that have Game Pass, or maybe I doubt anybody's just waiting for a particular game to go on Game Pass, because that would be super counterintuitive for the purpose of Game Pass. But Among Us coming to Game Pass, and then Microsoft Flight Simulator. With that, they also confirmed that it's coming to console, so they are bringing a console build to Xbox Series X and S, which is kind of crazy considering the demands for that game on a PC to even run respectively. I'm very fascinated to see how Microsoft Flight Simulator will fare on a console. They also showed gameplay for Battlefield 2042. So it looks pretty cool. They didn't show us too much to like really munch on, but it was a decent amount to get a general gist. I mean, to be fair, it looked pretty similar to its trailer. So, then Diablo 2, they resurrected the remaster of Diablo 2. We actually saw gameplay. I don't think we've seen gameplay of Diablo 2 yet. I believe I could be wrong on that, but they at least gave us release date September of this year, I believe. So, then they showed a sequel to A Plague Tale, called A Plague Tale Requiem. I gotta do it. A Plague Tale Requiem. You had to put some seriousness towards it. Again, a game I'm not familiar with, at least the first one. I know it, just a general gist, but not fully any more than that. Something about a rat plague or something. So this definitely at least caught my interest. Then I think this is pretty unexpected. The Outer Worlds 2. I mean, yeah, as somebody who wasn't a fan of the Outer Worlds 1, I may give it a shot. I don't know. Maybe I just wasn't in the right mood when I was playing it, but yeah. I mean, if it does some interesting things, I might give it another shot. Yeah, especially being on Game Pass. Yeah, I'll likely give it another go. I think even still keeping that train of what is this? Not really. It makes a lot of sense, to be honest. But they announced Sea of Thieves crossing over with Pirates of the Caribbean. So they actually got Jack Sparrow, Sparrow's voice, aka Johnny Depp, as well as, I'm assuming, some of the other characters. They showed some of the other characters, like, was it David Jones? At least I know Pirates of the Caribbean is based off of some of the mythology of some of the, what would you call it, pirate lore. I don't, you know what I mean. Basically, deep rooted pirate sea lore, just pirates and stuff. I don't know. Then Fallout 76, the the game that keeps trying. They revealed an update for Steel Rain. And then I think there was some other update. Let me double check that. It looked like Fallout 5. I was like, oh shit, are they going to do it? And then it was, Fallout 76. Fallout 5. Oh, Fallout 76. Okay. All right. What was it? So it was the Steel Rain was one component. And trying to find the maybe they have it here. Is it Steel Dawn? I think that was the one that already came out. Okay, Steel Rain is the one that's coming July 7th. I think it was called The Pit. Something The Pit, I believe. Something like that. But yeah, either way. Further DLC after 76. One of these days, maybe, if I'm bored enough, but I mean, that's not been happening. So, yeah. But then they Halo, they showed Halo Infinite multiplayer. Oh, so good. So good. It was a lot to unpack from it. I think the biggest revelation they showed from Halo Infinite multiplayer is the grappling hook is confirmed to be in the multiplayer component. So they showed a couple aspects of it. They showed you being able to grab a weapon. I'm guessing that they have to be dead, because I think in the gameplay they showed the person killing the dude and they dropped their weapon, and then it showed the person grappling hook the weapon and bringing it back to them to equip it, which is pretty dope. And then also on top of that, they showed them the player grappling hook vehicles. So like in the instance, I think they showed, I want to say a Banshee or some modified Banshee. They show the person grappling hook onto the Banshee and then being able to hijack them in midair that way, that just opens up so many options now when you think about it. Kind of crazy. Was there something else they did with the grapple hook? Of course, there's the mobility stuff. They did show like that's my default for every try hard. Yeah, so they showed a player grappling hook the ceiling on a map, and then they sniper out, and then they grapple hook to the ceiling, and then did a headshot after falling down, barely an inconvenience. That same dude that was playing Battlefield, he's now playing Halo Infinite multiplayer when it comes out. So that was pretty cool. They did, I think, possibly hint that Big Team Battle is gonna potentially be Battle Royale-esque, or they're making some mode that I'm assuming like almost every multiplayer game these days is gonna try to emulate Battle Royale and make it its own, which is totally understandable as long as it's fun, I guess. Really, that's at the end of the day, that's generally what matters the most. But yeah, so I mean, there is that. Yeah, so then I think what they showed, Xbox had this weird like extended event today where they actually dropped a couple other stuff like Hellblade 2. They revealed more details for that, where just it seemed to be more of the development actually. Let me double check. I did not actually catch the full blown trailer. I don't think they showed gameplay, but maybe they did. Yeah, it has the interviewer. He's talking about it. I at least got the Cliff Notes version, but I know they said it's gonna take place in a different time period, and it technically is not like a direct sequel. So I'm assuming it's potentially might be a different protagonist. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really show much. Maybe I'm not looking at the full trailer, but either way, they did talk about that. Then on top of that, they also revealed that Xbox Design Labs is back. I think I forgot when they stopped doing Xbox Design Labs. For those that don't know, Xbox Design Labs is basically a service, I guess. It basically lets you buy a new Xbox, in this case Series X or S, Xbox Series controller, and customize it to your, complete preference, where you can pretty much customize pretty much almost every aspect of the controller. You can like make the back paddles, not back paddles, the bumpers like orange, make the thumbsticks like teal, and all that stuff. And then on top of that, you can also you can either engrave your name tag or anything you want, like what pineapples or booty. You can, if you if you feel that strongly about pineapples, by all means you can have that engraved on the controller. You probably go get some weird side eyes of people etching your controller. I don't know. Actually, I don't even know how that process goes. I assume there's some human interaction / intervention in some way, but yeah. So you got that. What else? Yeah, that was pretty much it, really, for Xbox. But man, I mean, I forgot they showed like a crazy amount of games, and it was like so many games that like I would want to play, and especially a good majority of them all were saying that they are going to premiere on Xbox Game Pass as well. Is like, man, Microsoft is doing the right thing in terms of, really putting everything behind Game Pass, because I think really it's working for them for the most part. If anything, it probably is doing way better than I think we're all thinking it is, potentially. Who knows? But yeah, so Xbox and Bethesda have to give them a good old solid B. Think B. Nothing like crazy, like, oh shit, I wasn't expecting it, but there's a lot of stuff that I wanted to know about that I did, and just the sheer amount of games they did show, and the pacing of the show as well. There wasn't like, too many presenters. Hi. Hey guys, how's it going? You're probably wondering why I'm here. We have something very special and excellent to show you guys that I think you guys are going to want to watch. Something, I don't know. Guys, I'm sorry, that's always my go-to. Guys, we've heard you. That takes me out every time. I wonder if there probably is. There's probably some YouTube channel out there that is probably like logged every time a person has said either experience, we've heard. That's probably not as frequent as I'm thinking it is in my head. But yeah, I am very fascinated if that is a thing. But either way, all in all, solid B. Pretty strong showing. Xbox / Bethesda. Good job. Then we got E3. Well, not E3. What am I saying? Square Enix. Square Enix showed up. We just gonna have to go through it. So Square Enix, they started off the show with Guardians of the Galaxy. I think it was rumored a lot, pretty often, but we at least now know for sure it's its own thing. Thankfully, it's single player. I think it would have been real easy when it premiered to assume that it was probably going to, tie in with the Marvel Avengers game or something like that. But thankfully, it's its own thing and single player, so no multiplayer, which totally fine by it. They pretty much majority of this show was Guardians of the Galaxy, which is a little unfortunate, but from what was shown, it definitely at least showed the potential of having the spirit of Guardians of the Galaxy as a whole, in terms of like at least my familiarity with the this this medium, if you will, in the from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So you know, they you know, Rocket Raccoon is Rocket Raccoon. What's his name? Star Lord is still fucking squids and shit. So, you know, you got that. You know, he was like, you know, I'll call you later. To a squid. And I'm like, wow, guess that's how y'all get down in space. But I mean, this is somebody who was talking about, you know, like, I'm really attracted to Samara from Mass Effect, so I can't even say nothing. So, you know what? He has a point. I don't know about, I mean, you know, they have to look like at least somewhat remote to a human, I would assume, but I digress. What Drax is Drax, kind of cold, calculated, and very, matter of factly. Who else? There was somebody else. What's her name? Damn it, Gamora. Gamora felt like Gamora. So, I mean, it felt like all the characters were their kind of general like expectations, but you know, just the dollar store version, if we're being honest, because you know it's hard to shake that expectation of, you know, your frame of reference, at least in my case, only being familiar with the Marvel Cinematic Universe version of these people, you know, having that association with those characters, and you know, like, oh, these are not those people, so they're lesser, I guess, you know. So, but the gameplay looked pretty dope. It seems to be like you mainly control Star Lord, and he's shooting people, and you know, he uses his leg boosters and stuff, which is pretty dope. I kind of got slight what vibes? What's the game? Vanquish. Gotta do it. Vanquish. That's how they say it in the game. So, very slight Vanquish vibes, where, you know, with the, if you don't know, Vanquish is pretty dope. I think it's made by Platinum, where basically it's a dude in a mech suit, kind of, and he has boosters on his legs, and it just shows him he can boost on his legs like long distances and flipping stuff. It's awesome. I do recommend it. It's pretty short too, so it's not too much of a commit. But yeah, either way, yeah, you definitely got Vanquish vibes with Star Lord. The combat looked pretty fun. At least how the other characters work while you're in combat. It seems like you can call them in like assists. And I think they showed like you can have a super too, where, you know, you have this like, you know, aggro moment where, you know, you go balls to the wall, and I think the music plays, you know, his Star Lord's famous like 80s playlist plays while you're, you know, causing havoc, which is pretty cool. You're fighting some weird enemies. I think they were just I can only remember them fighting a Jello cube or something, like just a cube of Jello, and that was it. I think there were some dogs, or maybe the Jello cubes changed into dogs. I'm not sure, but either way, it was fun. It was fun. I would definitely give it a shot. Maybe I'd wait for reviews before fully committing, but it seems like a good time. Yeah. So that was pretty much all of the Square Enix showing. Then they showed Final Fantasy 1 through 6 remastered. So how they showed it was very, very deceiving, at least after the fact. At least initially, I think I was excited, even as somebody who's only played Final Fantasy 7. Yeah, technically the only game I've really played is Final Fantasy 7. I've not played any of the other Final Fantasies. But I was like, oh, you know what? I'd be interested in this. If this comes on Switch or PlayStation, Xbox, I'll give it a shot. And so it's 1 through 6. Okay, how they present it is that 1 through 6 come into consoles, since I think these are already out on mobile, and I think technically Steam on PC. And I was like, okay, fine. All right, cool. And then, you know, towards the end, it was like, oh yeah, coming on mobile and Steam. right? I mean, you have a huge install base of Nintendo Switch and PlayStation and Xbox, but I guess we're just gonna ignore those. But then come to find out, all of these are like not collective, they're each individual, so you have to buy each one individual, at least specifically on the mobile storefront. I guess maybe potentially Steam as well, I'm not sure about that, but either way, it's like, regardless, the fact that these aren't on console in any way does not make sense at all, especially considering we're on Final Fantasy 15 as the last, well, no, 16 is coming out. So I mean, it's, I think, pretty apparent that Final Fantasy is pretty popular on consoles. Of course, 16 is going to be exclusive, I think, console wise, to the PlayStation 5. So I don't get why they would announce this if it's not coming to console. It just doesn't make sense. I don't know what people were thinking. Why Square? Why would you do this? Anyway, I think it's a given that this will eventually come to consoles, because it's like, why not? That's just frustrating to a certain extent. Then they show Babylon's Fall, which is supposed to be this a live service hack and slash from Platinum, who's made a lot of the popular titles, Nier Automata, Metal Gear Rise and Revengeance, Bayonetta. I'm not I seeing some of the gameplay, it didn't really, wasn't at least appealing from there, but I could see it possibly being a game where it's like, it'll have a pretty comforting loop that might, keep that engagement from there. But outside of that, I don't know. So yeah. What else? Oh yeah, they did show the Avengers. They showed the next DLC. Well, no, I think they showed one DLC before that, but of course, the next DLC that I think everybody is at least anticipating and curious about is the Black Panther DLC, which they showed a decent amount. I think they showed what's the dude, Claw, the dude with the one arm, him, I guess, presumably being an antagonist for this one. They showed Black Panther. I'm not sure how I feel about it in terms of just my general feeling of the Avengers game itself. I don't know. I'll probably wait until reviews pop out to see what other people think before I dive in, but the potential is there. I mean, I think in general, just my impression of playing the Avengers game, what the 10 hours I played of just the campaign, I don't know. It the taste in my mouth is a little tart from playing. It just did not seem like a game that you would make live service to begin with. Really, that's probably the biggest problem. But I digress. They also showed the Final Fantasy. I think really the recently rumored at the time, before, I think pre E3, the Final Fantasy based action adventure action RPG made by Toei Tecmo. Toei Tecmo? Noe Tecmo? You know what I mean. The same people that made Ninja Gaiden. Making this. And they revealed it. It's called Final Fantasy Stranger's Paradise Final Fantasy Origins. And it's got oh boy, man. Internet had a field day with this one. Oh man. So firstly, the main character himself, I think his name is Jack, I believe. And basically, it's pretty apparent. He looks like a straight up Eminem. Straight up Eminem. The rapper I'm talking about. And so you got that working against him. then on top of that, his default clothing options is freaking just some base some very modern looking clothes, which is at least conflicting with the time period he's presumably in, which I believe it's Final Fantasy 1 or something like that in terms of where I guess the lore this game is based off of. So with those two factors combined, oh yeah, I forgot. Oh, I could forget. I'm gonna just say one word: chaos. So basically, in the trailer they showed, it was basically him just saying like he said chaos like 4 times. So I think that's the enemy. Technically, I know he goes by another name. But yeah, that we're here to defeat chaos. All I want is chaos. Who put cheese on my fries? Chaos. This baby isn't mine. Chaos. You get the idea. So, yeah, it looked that from what they showed, the gameplay is pretty good. The demo actually dropped that day as well, and oh, I forgot about that too. They dropped the demo, I think the same day, that Sunday. But come to find out, the the demo was corrupted. So pretty much anybody who downloaded it and tried to launch it, it would immediately crash the game. So I mean, chaos. So pretty much the game was unplayable for like, I want to say 24 to 48 hours, I think. And then after that, the game they released a patch, and then the game was playable, which I actually did play, and I'll go into that a little bit later. But yeah. And then I think another point is that people are talking about is how the game does look, understandably so, like a PS2, PS3 game, which is, I think, a pretty valid judgment, because it does. It does. I mean, I think this has got a year left before it is technically going to be released, but I mean, that's technically potentially a decent amount of time. I mean, as somebody who's not been in the game industry in that front, it's I think generally a lot can happen in the polishing phase. I don't know how, I assume every company is different in terms of how they tackle stuff, but I think it can definitely be helped, but we'll see. But all in all, yeah. And then that was pretty much it. Oh, I forgot. They showed what, like 2 seconds of what, 3 milliseconds of Final Fantasy 16, I think. So I mean, there's get hype. Let's go. So yeah. All in all, for Square Enix, I'd give them a C minus. Yeah, I part of me wanted a Final Fantasy 7 remake. I mean, they showed the Yuffie DLC, which released a week prior or whatever. But that was it. That whole Final Fantasy thing put a bad taste in my mouth. Kind of surprised they didn't show First Soldier, which is the Final Fantasy, that mobile game, that Battle Royale mobile game in the Final Fantasy 7 universe. What else? It was something else. I can't recall or remember. Oh yeah, After Crisis, which was the another mobile game that hopefully isn't just mobile, because that should totally be console, and actually would be a great candidate for the Switch in terms of, considering the Switch can't technically, or be very difficult to run on a, Final Fantasy remake or something. So yeah, solid C. could have been yeah, I mean, you know what, C minus. That Guardians of the Galaxy thing, they put too much time, they dedicated too much time to Guardians. I think it was just too much, did they reveal? No, I think that was pretty much it, really, at least highlight wise. So from there, moving on to the PC gaming show, which at least showed me stuff I just was not aware of. I just was not aware of at all. So PC gaming show, they started off with this game Naraka Blade Point, which I guess was a game that's been in what's the term? Beta? I think beta. In beta for a long time. It apparently has a pretty huge following. I've never heard of it until seeing this show, and it seems pretty dope. It seems to be kind of a action vibe. I think they said they're premiering the DLC for like this dope chainsaw weapon. I'm digging it. It's got like a feudal Japan vibe too as well, which that's always my weak point. I mean, it's what is it? It's either zombies, feudal Japan, settings, zombies, feudal Japan, modern, depending. Those at least for sure my two, like, okay, you got me. all right, I'm a sucker. Okay, you got me. Anyway, for Chivalry 2, they showed or revealed that there's going to be some DLC coming. I guess it seems kind of ambitious. It's like, it was like a ship, I think it was a ship. Let me double check. I'm just going off of memory. I think it was a ship. Something about a ship. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was a castle. Okay, I was wrong. I think it was a ship, but I can't find it right now. But I'm thinking it was some ship, but it seemed like it was pretty ambitious, but maybe it wasn't. I don't know. So that was cool. I know it just recently came out. I've yet to try it out. Then there was They Always Run, which it seemed pretty dope. It's like a 2D. It seemed like a 2D slasher with some other elements to it. Let me refresh my memory on that one, because at least on my radar, it seemed pretty dope. Yeah, it kind of got a Blade Runner vibe. Yeah, it's a futuristic dude. He's got like 3 arms, I think. Yeah, it's got like a slasher neo, what's the other one? Blade Runner vibe, and I'm digging the art style. Yeah. So that got on my radar. Gloomwood. I guess this is like a Doom kind of two late 90s shooter vibe to it, which seemed pretty cool. I think there's a demo specifically for E3 as well, but it seemed kind of cool, so that definitely had my interest piqued. And that was pretty much it for the PC gaming show. It was a lot of, I think, stuff we knew about, and if anything, other mainly indie type stuff that they showed there. So I don't think it's fair to grade them considering the material, but yeah. So Capcom was it that Monday, I think? I want to say. I believe Capcom was that Monday. So they showed, well, I mean, guess we'll get into it. So they showed us Monster Hunter Rise Well, they didn't even really show much of that. They did just show that there's going to be a crossover between Monster Hunter stories, which they already told us before. Then Resident Evil, they showed they said that RE-verse, the game that nobody cares about, is coming out next month. I'm just probably gonna can you hate play something? That probably might be one of the games. Then after that, this is probably the most hype moment of this showing. They showed RE Village DLC. They didn't show anything. What I meant was they showed some very sexy font. You know, they just had the black background with the white text, and it just said RE Village is confirmed and coming next year or something. I don't even think they gave us that, did they? Let me do a check. It was some sexy text. Let me tell you, I've never been more aroused by some text. Cause my goodness, it was just, yeah. By popular demand, development has just started on additional DLC for Resident Evil Village. More info later. Yeah, so yeah, it seemed very last minute. It's like, oh man, everybody's people are anticipating Village DLC. Okay, all right. Village DLC coming later, confirmed. like what, 5 minutes before the showing, it seemed like, but I don't know. Yeah. So you got that. Yeah, that was it was literally a black background and some white text just showing that. Nothing at all. So then they went a little too much into this the Great Ace Attorney gameplay. They like show like what 15 minutes of this, it felt like. So I think it probably bored most people. I just don't think the Great Ace Attorney is a game that you would want to showcase on, you know, your generalized show, like you know, like the Nintendo Treehouse, you know, like where they show extended gameplay. That I think is a more appropriate like avenue to show it. But yeah, for like literally the whole collective you know, gaming community, yeah, it's just not a game that's like I can't envision somebody watching this Capcom thing and them showing the Great Ace Attorney, and somebody who wasn't necessarily interested in the Ace Attorney series would be like, wow, you know what, this is great. I'm gonna have to get it now. It just is not a game that translates well to I don't know, entice people to play it, if that makes sense. So yeah. Then oh boy, it felt like it just went further downhill from there. And they showed the Capcom Pro Tour, just basically giving you more unnecessary details again, in the most unnecessary way, by showing it during this event of you know, hey, Capcom Pro Tour is a thing, just come and watch it, blah blah blah. But they didn't even do that. They could have been short and sweet about it, but they like went really into it, which again, I just did not work for them. And then even then, they could have totally did that, but then redeemed it, or you know, gave it a payoff by revealing the last character, DLC character for Street Fighter 5, which they totally didn't as well. We didn't get no DLC character for Street Fighter 5, so it was literally no payoff, and then that was it. They just left it on that, and then bye, see you later, and then they just left. So, and then I'm curious. I know a rumor's been going around because of that huge ass Capcom leak, with basically that showed their whole slate for what the next 4-6 years of their plans for all their Capcom games. not even one aspect of that was shown here at E3. Not even a teaser trailer, nothing. So with all that being in mind and consideration, have to give Capcom a big ass F. Just horrible. There was literally nothing tangible to like even be immensely excited for. It's like RE Village, you have to like fantasize what the DLC is gonna be like to even like get any, grab any form of excitement for that. So it's unfortunate. I think it's a lot of stuff they could have did. At least tease us something. Just horrible. Unfortunately, just no Onimusha, no Dino Crisis, no Resident Evil 2/3 director's cut. Just bad. No, not even begrudgingly, not even Resident Evil 4 remake, anything like from that. Just nothing at all. So yeah, Capcom, you get a big fat F. All right, get a big fat F. Okay, do better. You need to do better. Okay, you're better than this. All these blockbuster titles and breaking records, and this is what you give us. This is what you give us. Then probably one of the most redeeming, best presentations of E3 this year. Have to give it to Nintendo Direct. They hit the ground running. So they started off right. They was like, you know what? Hey, we about to give you that fire. So we gonna give you Kazuya Mishima from Tekken. Kazuya Mishima from Tekken. And man, the trailer is funny as hell. So for those that may not be familiar with Tekken, but they showed Kazuya. He was carrying a dude. Well, in terms of reference, in Tekken, basically Heihachi, who was Kazuya's father, threw his ass off the cliff in a volcano. I forgot. I can't even remember the reasoning for it. He's just like, I don't know. I want to make you tough. I think maybe either way. Heihachi throws Kazuya off the cliff and somehow he survives and basically gets revenge. And then as like a full circle type deal, he throws Heihachi off the cliff in like, redemption. The famous like meme gif of Kazuya Mishima where he turns around and does smile. That's basically that's his ending cutscene in Tekken. So with that in mind, they basically show Kazuya carrying Ganondorf first, and then going to the cliff, throwing him off. And I was like, instantly, I was like, oh shit, is that really? They didn't even show you who it was. I'm like, it's got to be Kazuya or Heihachi. And lo and behold, it was Kazuya Mishima. God damn it. So yeah, they showed. Then they showed just it's so much to freaking unpack from that trailer. But they after that they showed him like throwing off multiple people, which is hilarious. Pretty much a good amount of the Smash cast. They showed what's her name, the one arms girl, Lee May, I think, or Mei Min throw Min off the cliff. Then her little her long ass arm, he's like, oh, let me get this shit off. kick the rest off the cliff. Then after that they showed some of the gameplay. Yeah, he seems to be pretty dope. And then on top of that, which I was not expecting at all, they have his freaking 10-hit combo, which I am very fascinated and curious how that's going to play out in the main game, or when he comes out. I'm pretty sure we're going to find out when his direct, his in-depth direct comes, I think later this month. But it's for, I guess, to kind of paint the picture in that respect. So in Tekken, there's like 4 buttons, which basically 4 buttons for each of your limbs is, I guess, the best way to kind of correlate it. So pretty much each button is a limb. So, you have left, right, left punch, right punch, left kick, right kick. And pretty much that, along with various directional inputs, not too heavy generally, is basically, how you generally play Tekken in terms of, at least specifically, like, in that regard. For 10 hit combos, it varies from character to character, but for most people, it's just mainly just button combinations and input and timing. That's pretty much the general gist of like doing a 10 hit combo in Tekken. So how Kazuya Mishima is gonna do a 10 hit combo in Smash, considering there's only two technically two attack buttons in Smash, not taking into account like directional inputs. I am just curious how it's gonna work. I guess it could either be timing based or directional based. That's the only way I could think of it, is either maybe it's gonna be a combination of hitting both of the buttons at once, as well as then B, like maybe doing like A B, B A B A B A B B. I could see that. That might be the more practical, probably, implementation of it. I could see maybe you go into a stance and then start it or something. I don't know. I'm very curious to see how he's gonna play out. And man, if he pulls this off, Sakurai, Masahiro Sakurai, that dude is a legend by just being able to make so many various characters from so many very diverse backgrounds all be able to play decently within a single fighting game is still fascinating and amazing to me to this day. And just we got freaking Sephiroth in his it's crazy. Like you kind of take it for granted when you think about it. Like, just there's like 80, it's close to 80 characters in this game. Let's do in Smash Ultimate. How many are in there? Jesus, 74 characters in this game. I mean, give or take like Echo Fighters, and what your philosophy is it on if you consider those, but Jesus, that is crazy. 74, and just being able to make all those work, that's crazy. But yeah, so that's gonna be interesting. He seems to have a lot of his moves. I saw like the potential of I don't know if it's like a Korean. It seemed like that's gonna be surreal. Maybe you could potentially Korean backdash in a Smash Smash Ultimate. That's gonna be funny if that is the case. Basically, Korean backdash in Tekken is basically a technique to. I think it's basically a technique that helps you more with footsies, kind of. And actually, let me look real quick at the Fighterpedia that came out for this, the fighting game glossary that we talked about, I know, a while ago. Let's get the real technical term. Korean backdash. Korean backdash, a method specific to Tekken that lets you backdash multiple times in a row extremely quickly. In Tekken, you can cancel the recovery of a backdash with pretty much anything, called predictably backdash canceling. Korean backdashing cleverly uses down back to cancel a backdash in progress and immediately count as the first back input for your next backdash. After backdashing once, repeat down, back, neutral, back in rapid succession to continually cancel your backdash into crouch and then start a new backdash as fast as possible. The technique is named for Korean players who discovered it in Tekken Tag Tournament and used it to great success in some American events. The execution takes a fair bit of practice to get used to, but the fast movement it allows is very powerful, and it's often seen as a benchmark skill to transition into higher level Tekken play. Nice. Man, bless the fighting game glossary by Enfield. Glossary, man, it is so good. It is so good. I think it's definitely going to help a lot of aspiring fighting game players coming out. But yeah, so that's going to be funny. Korean backdash. I know it brought up this whole discussion now where there is some categorization. You know what I mean? Where like people are like putting Kazuya as this like, you know, what archetype in Smash. I guess, you know, because the term Shoto is generally referred to people that like Ryu and Ken that have a Shoryuken motion. And then people are putting Kazuya in this same camp, which, you know, I don't think he's going to fall into it. You know, which is interesting. It was an interesting discussion where that was being brought up where, you know, Kazuya is a Shoto, but generally he's not. He doesn't have a Shoryuken motion move. So based off that fact, he would not be a Shoto. So that was a funny, interesting like topic of discussion people were having like when he premiered. So pretty great though. I think it's a very good pick. I know it's been suspected by some people, but I don't think a lot of people like fully thought it was gonna happen. But I mean, it's pretty dope. We now have what Street Fighter cross Tekken in Smash. What Street Fighter cross Tekken in Smash. What we got PlayStation All Stars in Smash. What else? We got what Marvel versus SNK in Smash. Oh man, this game feels like a once in a lifetime deal, really. Which I'm glad to be a part of in this, like, just to bask in this whole like pandemonium of, you know, just how many characters can we put into this game, which I just love. I really do. I'm such a fan of Smash, just based off the spectacle of, you know, this is probably never gonna happen again. So yeah, let me stop gushing. Then they revealed Mario Party Superstars, which it seems to be a Mario Party greatest hits, where it pretty much has the greatest hits like mini games from all the past Mario Party games, and the biggest thing online, which I think is huge for Mario Party. I feel like, at least in my experience, the general consensus when it comes to Mario Party, most people don't want to play it. Let me rephrase that. I think it's pretty hard to bring up Mario Party in a party, not a party setting, but I don't know, casually. I think it feels like Mario Party is like in the same ballpark as Monopoly. It feels like for Mario Party, it's a commitment, where I think a lot of people don't want to commit. And, you know, I feel like you have to be in a specific mood to play Mario Party in some cases, which I think online will help alleviate. So, like, you know, maybe you're in the mood to play Mario Party, but other people aren't, and, you know, vice versa. I think online would be pretty fun. Pretty fun, especially people you don't know. You could be a spiteful Maybe that's the other factor, like, Mario Party ruining friendships. Oh man, you took my 5 stars, you bitch. And then Kenny and John aren't friends anymore because of that. So um yeah. So all for Mario Party having a party online, which is pretty cool. I'm that that's a buy for me. That's always been the thing with me with Mario Party. It's like I don't really be having friends like that in terms of being able to play all the time. That I at least when I want to. So hopefully this might be a cool little I don't know, substitute, if you will. Then they showed WarioWare. I gotta do it. WarioWare, get it together. I kind of want it to be that. They just give you a call to action. Get it together, man. So hey, I mean, WarioWare on the Switch. I mean, what more do you want? I'm looking forward to it. I'm familiar with WarioWare, where they do have a lot of the very what I would consider this to be like what Adult Swim the game, where it just has a lot of very random, weird, wonky, so random stuff that it's just funny. And then Metroid fans rejoice. Metroid, I don't want to do it. Metroid Dread. had to put some more depression in toward the end. Metroid Dread premiered. What I think this game technically, from what I hear, the game's technically been in the works for like 19 years or something like that, which is crazy. And now it's coming to fruition. It's kind of weird. They suggested it's Metroid 5. Technically, Metroid Prime 4 is still in the works, but I understand it. They clearly said that it's taking a long time to develop, but basically Metroid in 2.5D. I think that's what it falls under. Where basically it's generally 2D, but there are various elements where it does become 3D in terms of like cutscenes and interactions and stuff like that too. Pretty dope detail. This is supposedly the sequel to Metroid Fusion, which is probably one of my favorite Metroid games. I guess technically not really playing the previous Metroids. I think is Metroid Fusion the only one I played really. Yeah. So bias aside, this definitely has me interested even more so, at least having a reference of playing Metroid Fusion, which in of itself it's regardless, it's a wonderful Metroid game too. So, Metroid has been revived. Metroid is Metroid is not dead. Metroid came back from the dead. Metroid came back from the dead to be Dread. I'm sorry, I'm not a rapper though. Shin Megami Tensei 5 also showed itself, and we got a release date for December 11th, which is pretty dope. I know I've had loose information about Shin Megami Tensei. I think it's a spinoff of Persona, I believe. But I've not touched any of these games since then. But I mean, this looks pretty dope. I will play it, of course. Oh, but man, out of nowhere, Advance Wars 1 and 2 remake was announced. They call it Advance Wars Reboot Camp. I gotta Advance Wars Reboot Camp. Ugh, I'm not sure how I feel about that. It's kind of what was it Red Faction remastered, or they get a little too comfortable with using I mean, it makes sense. It's reboot. I mean, I guess. I mean, either way, it's Advance Wars 1 and 2, which is a pretty awesome tactics game. I played a little bit back in the day that I've been rearing to get back into, but this is definitely a perfect excuse to do so. Yeah. And then of course the what what I would call the Zelda power what power 15 power 5 minute, I don't know. But they announced Hyrule Warriors DLC. They showed what Link he had like some. It looked like he had like Dante's Cerberus weapon from Devil May Cry 3. Some type of I'm pretty sure there's a term for it that I'm just not coming to mind, but it looked like some nunchucks, or I forgot what's the weapon with it's a weapon that has, it's like a nunchuck but it has a long stick in the middle. Let me look that up real quick. I'm very curious now. Um, I'm just gonna say, was it's like an ignorant black man. What's that weapon with the um? I put that with the that I just typed this, literally all of this. That the looks like a nunchuck, and you spell nunchuck chucku with the stick in the middle. 3-section staff. Wow, I am surprised that got me. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Let me look at 3-section staff. Yeah, that's what it is. So it looked like a modified 3-section staff, at least in that DLC, which is cool. It's a game I have, but I've not played. So, I mean, eventually. Then they announced the Zelda Game & Watch, which I think will have the first Zelda, Zelda 2, and I think a Game Boy Zelda, I believe. Let me double check on that. Where is it? Yeah, so Zelda Classics. Did they even tell you? Yeah, Legend of Zelda, Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link, and Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, which I guess, yeah, I think that was the one Game Boy game that got remastered on the Switch recently. Somewhat semi recently. That's pretty cool. I like it. Then of course, to satiate everybody's dying hunger, just bloodlust for anything Breath of the Wild 2. We did get Breath of the Wild 2 trailer, which is pretty a decent trailer. They showed a pretty much good amount of what you can expect in the game. It feels like Zelda's not Zelda, Link has gotten Link has been jaded, what's the word I'm looking for? He's gotten seasoned. His hair is longer now. He got this robot arm out of nowhere. And it feels like he went through the same it was like the same what path that JD from Gears of War 4 and 5 went through. Like, I've seen some things. It's like, man, it's just been a single game. What happened? I've seen some things. That's all he says. Hey, I've seen some things. And he just walks away. I guess. Okay, man. Sure. And that was pretty much the Nintendo Direct. So, I mean, we still have not gotten anything with the Switch Pro. So I'm assuming, that's because of COVID and, the chip shortages and stuff like that. And I mean, regardless, the Switch itself is still selling, flying off the shelves anyway too. So, I mean, I take it Nintendo is not that pressed to, announce anything yet. I mean, I also suspect that, considering the Switch Lite, it pretty much announced and shortly came out after. Wouldn't be surprised if that'd be the same case. I think it came out around September. Let me double check that real quick. Switch Lite release date. Switch Lite release date. Oh, May 21st. Never mind. Technically, it would should have came out, but I could see them like announcing it in August and then it come out in September or something like that. I wouldn't be surprised if it does drop like shortly before the end of this year / holiday season. I could see that happening. But yeah. I mean, we could put we could put the tinfoil hats on and speculate what could have happened, but I think ultimately they maybe were considering doing it, but then maybe looked at the reality of everything combined and just maybe decided to not follow through with it, which is totally fine. I understand. This pandemic is something else, man. Let me tell you. So yeah, I would give it grade wise a solid B+. B+ for sure. I guess why would I give it a B? Well, yeah, I think the fact that it was heavily. I would have at least liked some confirmation of the Switch Pro. I mean, regardless, I think it's just the rumors are pretty apparent that this thing does exist. Just giving us something tangible to just know instead of all this concern and kind of speculation where everybody's just been speculating about it and nothing has been coming to fruition. So, yeah. So yeah, with all that being in mind, I give it a solid B+. Nintendo and Microsoft, they definitely showed out for sure. Then of course, cause I'm always gonna push that physical agenda. I will. Limited Run Games, they had their event where they showed a couple aspects of, they showed pretty much their upcoming games that will have a physical release. Mainly this generally veers towards, it could be a various amount of things. It generally is like a lot of the like AAA. It depends on what you consider as AAA, but either way, a lot of the popular games that release only digitally, Limited Run Games generally releases them physically for those fans that do like the physical and want to be forever physical, which I am a proponent for physical media. Totally understand people that don't want physical, of course, obviously, but I'm gonna still keep the physical though, So they actually had some pretty revelatory stuff during this event too, for a couple games that we didn't know about, I'm pretty sure. But at least starting off, Contra Anniversary Collection is gonna get a physical release. Pretty damn dope. I forgot. I think this released a couple years ago, but either way, it has now gotten a getting a physical release, which is dope. Double Dragon and the Kunio-kun bundle that I think came out last year as well, getting physical. That should be a getting physical. I'm gonna do that. Dusk, which is I think we talked about, it seemed like a pretty dope late 90s, late 90s, early 2000s first person shooter is getting physical. Zombies Ate My Neighbors / Ghoul Patrol. This was probably the biggest announcement, I think. It depends. Is getting physical. Oh no, I think they revealed this already. Or no, I think they for sure revealed this is coming out, but I think during this show they revealed that it is going to be physical, I believe. I could be wrong about that. They may have done it earlier. But either way, getting physical. What's actually pretty big, I think maybe it depends on how you interpret it, but I think was pretty big. And one aspect I do love about Limited Run, is that a good amount of games they do release for their original hardware too. So that actually is going to be the case for Zombies Ate My Neighbor / Google Patrol, which originally released on the Super Nintendo as well as the Sega Genesis. With this, they're going to release those versions again, basically, so you can actually buy like a collector's edition of the SNES version and the Genesis versions, which is always mad respect and pretty damn dope. Love limited run games. They're keeping the physical agenda. They're keeping and pushing the physical agenda, and I love it. And the same goes for Castlevania Rondo of Blood. Basically was a game that released exclusively on the PC Engine, which I think that's anywhere but the US is called the TurboGrafx Pro. Either way, basically Castlevania Rondo of Blood is getting yet another physical release for the TurboGrafx Pro Duo. And I believe this is going to be a revised version where they pretty much add the better audio for the PSP version of the game, which I think is the only other platform it came out for outside of the PC Engine / TurboGrafx, which is pretty damn dope, man. Just I think somebody made the revelation that this is going to be the first TurboGrafx / PC Engine that released since, or been announced since, I guess the original hardware, which is crazy. Mad respect to limited run games for doing stuff like this. I always respect it as somebody who also has a fascination and appreciation for original older retro console / hardware. You love to see it, man. You really do. There was this cool game, Hunt Down. I think it just recently released. But man, the collector's edition for this is so dope. It has it comes with a little corny action figure that looks like similar to G.I. Joe. And it just has a whole overall like 80s vibe to it, which I'm definitely feeling. Then I think this is technically was the one more thing of the show. But basically, I guess it's supposedly this like softcore porn slideshow game called Plumbers Don't Wear Ties, where it's basically just that. So I forgot what platform it originally released on. Let me double check that, because I'm uncertain. Plumbers Don't Wear Ties. Plumbers Don't Wear Ties is an adult-oriented romantic comedy, quote unquote, visual novel / dating sim. So it's for the 3DO. That's what it was for the 3DO. I think, is it releasing for the 3DO? I wouldn't put it past limited run games to pull something like that off. Maybe it was updated on the wiki. Maybe not. No, I guess it's coming to modern systems. Wouldn't be surprised down the road though. It'll coming. We have the special backed up edition coming to 3DO as well. But apparently it's coming to PS4, PS5. Something about that is cracking me up. The fact that you're gonna you bought this next gen machine, and just one person, so like, you know what, I wasn't gonna get a PS5, but Plumbers Don't Wear Ties, I gotta get a PS5 now. I have no choice. I have PS4, PS5, PC, and Switch, physically and digitally. So there you go. You know what? I'm just tempted just by the novelty of it more than the actual, me really playing like a softcore porn slideshow game. But it's pretty cool. I guess apparently this has been like the most highly requested like game to be, printed by limited run games. So that's hey, they trying to appease the fans at least. So um then they announced River City Girls 0, which I guess was a River City Girls like game that only released in Japan. And let me double check on that just to be sure I'm not misguiding. I don't even see anything on it. Let me demo River City Girls 0. River City Girls 0. Yeah, River City Girls 0, a localization of a Super Famicom Kunio-kun game. So yeah, okay. So technically it was basically Japanese exclusive being translated. But then on top of that, River City Girls 2, which is pretty dope. I'm a pretty big fan of River City Girls. Love the first game. It was pretty fun, pretty delightful. I mean, you could dab people and hurt them. So I mean, what more do you want? part of that was like, I mean, okay. I mean, now I guess that was kind of when the dab was really a thing. I'm assuming what's his name, Cam Newton, was looking for his royalty somewhere, but I digress. Then Super Hot, which is a game I've been really loving, but I've not ever played. I just know I would love it, but I've never got around to playing it. Is getting a physical release, or more, dare I say, going physical. The Takeover, which is the beat 'em up game made by Matt McMuscles, as well as his team. Basically, definitely a fun like love letter to Streets of Rage. You get a lot of Streets of Rage vibes. I think Yuzo Koshiro, Yuzo Koshiro, who did basically the soundtrack of the original trilogy. I think he made a track for the game as well. So yeah, all in all, those were pretty much the highlights. I don't think it's fair to grade limited run games considering it's a lot of just mainly not announcing physical games. But hey, for somebody who appreciates physical games, I love it. With that being in mind, let's get into, I guess let's do pretty much a quick recap of my predictions I made before this. Doubt it's not it's not looking too good, but so my first prediction was I predicted that Marvel versus DC game will happen. It did not. I don't know. I thought Warner Brothers was having some event, but I guess it didn't. So maybe it could potentially still happen towards the end of this month. I don't know. But then Splinter Cell sequel, we did not get it all. Nope, not even one bit. I think they did at the Ubisoft event. They did say I think they showed a little bit of a Splinter Cell. It was either a Netflix. I think it was a Netflix series, and that was it. Just a brief thing. As far as we know, Xbox didn't acquire Sega, but at the same time, they didn't reveal that I don't think they revealed the big company they were going to acquire. So I mean, that still potentially could happen, but it did not happen at E3. Leon and Jill were not announced for Smash. And oh boy, yeah, we did not get a Resident Evil Classic Collection for during Capcom's Direct, which I thought maybe would have happened there, but nope. Did not get a Smash Season 3 pass announcement at all. Yeah, for number 5, did not. Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2 did not show itself at all. We did not get a announcement for an Xbox or Steam version of the game. Technically, I was right for 6, Hideo Kojima showing his next game. I mean, technically, I guess that would apply to. I guess it's not it. I don't know. I wouldn't consider this next game. So overall, I'd say it's false. But maybe I believe it's been rumored that PlayStation is going to have some event later this month where, you know, it's basically going to be what they, I guess, technically would have did at E3. So a lot of stuff could happen there. Metal Gear Solid Remake was not announced. Silent Hill has not been revived. The ambition. I had a lot of ambition, but you know what? It's fun to speculate either way. It's part of the fun and excitement of E3, I think. So, you know, hey, if I'm too ambitious, then throw me away and lock the key. I don't know why you want to do that, but it's your prerogative. Yeah. So now that we know how much I can inaccurately predict, let's get into what I've been playing, which I've been putting some work in. Just saying. I am when people ask who's the quintessential weekend warrior, it is myself. All right. So I'm that's gonna be my next moniker, the Weekend Warrior Champion. So played Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. So this is basically the biggest new exclusive for PlayStation 5. And I have to say it's pretty fun. If you just want to play a Pixar movie, man, this is basically it. It does some really fun stuff like that if you maybe you've seen in some of the trailers for the game, where the game like is full stop, like it's barely, I've not noticed any loading. And then what it does do with the loading of like different areas in the game is pretty dope. It seemingly being able to load a totally different world and be able to immediately go into that world with the Rift like mechanic in the game was pretty dope. It's definitely, I say, a pretty awesome showcase of the potential of the PlayStation 5 and what we can see in the future with like the capabilities of it. The adaptive triggers were pretty cool for each weapon. It definitely really similar to Returnal, where it gives you more kind of flexibility, variability, where if you hit the trigger half stop, it does your first primary motion or primary shot, and if you do it full stop, it'll do your secondary fire, which is pretty fun and pretty cool. And then each gun seems to react differently from being shot in terms of how the adaptive triggers feel as well. So yeah, all in all, thoroughly enjoyed it. Very like wholesome, just good fun ride, fun Pixar movie ride, I'd say, which I definitely enjoyed. It was about what I didn't do all the side stuff. I just did the main. I just mainly critical pathed it, and I think I did maybe occasional one or two side things here and there. For me, I think it felt like 12 hours, give or take. So, yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was pretty fun. Then, of course, Chaos, Stranger of Paradise. Man, how do you Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin? I'm sorry, I don't know what happened there, but Stranger of Paradise, Final Fantasy Origin. So yeah, after the demo actually was confirmed to be working and patched, I did play it. I have to say it's pretty damn fun. Memes and criticisms aside, on top of looking like a PlayStation 3 game, it is actually pretty fun to play. It definitely has, and I hate to use this comment, like, I feel like almost it's gotten to the point where like almost every game is like reference to Dark Souls, but it's hard to deny the similarities this game does have to Dark Souls in a lot of ways. I would assume maybe it does feel like Neo too. I feel like I haven't played Neo like that. I think I played the demo briefly when it came out. But yeah, definitely has a very it has a pretty it does have a high difficulty, but this, I did notice there were difficulty options. So I think you can play this game easier, and I noticed in some aspects they did say like some things are alleviated on the easier mode. So technically you can play this. You don't have to play this like Dark Souls, which is cool. So I think we'll add a little bit more I can't even say it. Accessibility. There we go, to people that want to play it. I do like I forgot what it's called. I just want to call it Soul Burst because that's what it feels like. Some Soul Burst mechanic where it seems to have a lot of layers to it, where you can, I think it seemed like you can parry pretty much almost anything if you time it right. But another aspect to it is if projectiles are being thrown at you, you can actually parry it, and then depending on like the properties of some of them, you'll actually attain it and be able to like to technically throw it back at them. Kind of like, it reminded me of like what Ness from Smash, where he can like, pocket specials and stuff and throw it back at people. It basically seemed like that, like whereas like one where a goblin can throw a stone at you and you can like parry it and take it and then throw it back at them, and or other people of course. And the same with like fireballs, where it has the same properties, where you can parry and then take it and throw it back at, or just pocket it to use towards anybody else, which I think definitely has potential to do a lot of fun and creative stuff when the main game comes out. It does have like a Dark Souls like, I hate to keep comparing it, but I mean it's apparent, where you have clothing options where you can they have different properties, like this tunic has +5, but this one thing I got on only has +1, so I guess I'll swap it out. Wish there was maybe some way to like streamline that, where you can like auto equip weapons that have the most powerful ability based on whatever parameter you like dictate, but maybe that's asking for too much. You have jobs where basically you can be melee or you can be like magic based. It kind of, again, I'm keep comparing it to Dark Souls, but I can't. It's hard to resist. It seems like you can switch classes on the fly like Dark Souls if you like Dark Souls, where you have to commit to a specific like class, which essentially forces you to use particular weapons and doesn't necessarily encourage you to branch out. You're generally like stuck in the confines of whatever weapon or whatever class you pick. But it seems like this game, Stranger of Paradise, lets you swap on the fly, kind of like almost similar to Devil May Cry, where you can switch styles. It seems like that is it. It seems like you can only do 2 from what I saw. Maybe you could potentially do more. That would be kind of cool. I think that would definitely open up the combat a lot more to, you know, branch out if you wanted to. But the potential is there. Um I wish there was more purpose for your buddies that are with you. It seems like they just were there just to be there for like story purposes. It didn't seem like they necessarily helped too much. I would have liked maybe some factor of being able to them being able to revive you if you fall down or something, or maybe that potentially is a factor component in the easier modes. I don't know, but I play normal, so I don't know what those differences could potentially be. Yeah, it just it was fun though. I did like the combat. You have like your special move where you need some mana or magic power to get that. Then you do that by grabbing people and turning them into blood crystals and smashing them and stuff like that. But it was fun. I definitely, it has the potential to be very at least fun. I mean, you know, the graphics are questionable. And you know, the Eminem character aside, that it is fun. The story seems very potentially very intentionally corny, just enough that I would be entertained by it. But I guess we'll see. I believe it's a year from now. It's at least somehow supposed to be released. But I believe it's exclusive. Is it exclusive to PlayStation 5? I know, at least going by the demo, I think it is, but let me see. Exclusive. Oh, it is coming on PlayStation 4. I don't think the demo is out on PlayStation 4, though. I could be wrong. Yeah, it's coming PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, Series X and S, Xbox One, and PC. Okay. So maybe that will explain the horrible graphics, but okay. I think the demo exclusive to PlayStation 5, and I think it's only live until the 24th of June. So I don't know. About that. But yeah, it was pretty fun. I did enjoy it. I had a good time. Yeah. After that, I did finish Dirge of Cerberus, Final Fantasy VII Dirge of Cerberus, which is basically the PS2 game starring Vincent Valentine himself. Was pretty fun. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It definitely was pretty great to play before going in Intergrade. Not essential, of course. I mean, of course, you can just YouTube a video of it, but I did like the gameplay of it and playing some of the aspects of certain characters that are in Intergrade that I wasn't aware of. They definitely make sense now in terms of like their possible implementation and like, you know, the upcoming part 2 that's coming out. But pretty good, I have to say. I kind of wished I played it when it came out originally, but hey, better late than never, you know. Then of course after that, keeping that Final Fantasy remake hype train going. It's my little spin on the on my choo choo. I hope you liked it. Final Fantasy, I gotta do it. Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. Nope. Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade Intermission. So that gets kind of confusing. So Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade is technically the PS5 version of the PS4 game. And then Intermission, I believe, is the DLC for Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade with Yuffie. So I did start off and played that first, and it's pretty fun. I love it. It is so good. It's exclusive to PlayStation 5 for now, I believe. But man, it is so fun. Yuffie, man, just at least knowing her moveset going into the next Final Fantasy, whatever that is, man, is gonna be a good time. Just the great ebb and flow of the combat between all the characters, and now Yuffie coming into the mix is gonna be fun. I could definitely see that. Um, I'm not gonna get into spoilers, but I will say it definitely was pretty fun, and whew, man, towards the ending of the DLC, I will say is very very solid. What's the word I'm looking for? Solid payoff and confirmation of some aspects that were at least hinted at in the ending of the original Final Fantasy VII remake. I will say that. I'm very excited for it. It definitely gets you very hype and excited for whatever Final Fantasy remake part 2 is, whatever they're gonna call it. And that's something I'm very curious of in and of itself. But yeah, so got hyped off that, and then straight up played Final Fantasy VII remake again, but this time on hard mode. I left that. I left hard mode. I was like, you know what? I'm pretty sure a PS5 version is gonna come out. Lo and behold, it did. And I was like, you know what? That's when I'm gonna replay it on hard, which I'm doing now, and it's pretty fun. Loving the refocus on it's definitely more important. Hard mode definitely puts more importance on materia, for sure. Materia is like essential to even survive in this mode, which does like bring up the issue I do have with Intergrade, which you think they would have implemented already, but you know, hopefully I will definitely have more of an issue if it's not implemented in the part 2. But I really wish this game had material loadouts, which, and by that I mean like basically a saved set like of materia that you can swap out amongst other various characters. So let's say I am a Cloud, and I want to swap my loadout with Baird, or I have like just a set, like I can even name it like, let's get real Call of Duty, like just name your loadouts, like I don't know, you can name it like tank and have like multiple HP ups, and healing, heal HP absorption or something like that. Just something so you don't have to keep, like, I find myself having to spend a lot of time trying to figure out what to properly slot on each character, especially like when they rotate within and out the party. So like they leave the party, and then their materia is not in use, so then I have to kind of debate. I'm not sure when I'll see them when they'll come back, so I'll take all their materia now and then worry about it later. Then later comes, I'm like, oh crap, now I gotta try and figure out what material they should have now, or what they should be, and then who am I kind of going up against. So I partially maybe understand the methodology in terms like maybe they do want you to think about the material you're slotting in based on the situation you're going to be put into, but it still just could be way more streamlined, I think. I mean, it does help that they have the wide materia board where you can actually, compare your materia to the other characters firsthand, and then determine like what would be appropriate materia, in conjunction with another character and stuff like that. But I just it feels like something could be done there to make it more streamlined. I know technically you can save your material to weapons, but especially with hard mode, you're very hard pressed to swap out your weapons, during combat and stuff. I mean, between battles, and consistently enough to validate that or make that even a worthwhile option to work around the restrictions of the materia, and not being able to easily save slots and stuff. So my biggest gripe with the game, especially in hard mode, I doubt it would be as big a deal in normal mode, but with hard mode being where it's super critical, it's literally life or death if you don't have your materia set properly. I think that's something they definitely need to have, especially in part 2. Hopefully in a future update in the interim before part 2 comes out. But yeah, so but outside of that, thoroughly enjoying all the improvements they added to Intergrade. 60 FPS, playing Final Fantasy VII Remake in 60 FPS is fantastic. It is great. It is everything I hoped it would be, and more. Photo mode, which is added for Intergrade 2, is pretty fun. Yeah, just some of the pictures you can take. I know I'm sharing on Twitter. It's just, it's great. You can, you have all the various photo mode enthusiast features. I would assume photo mode enthusiasts have a based judgment, I don't know, to make what considers it great or not. I don't know, but yeah. So you got that. Yeah, I think I'm on chapter 10. I want to say, very much and thoroughly enjoying replaying the game, man. 60 FPS, man, really makes a difference. You can also switch it back to, there's performance and graphics mode, I think, where it does do native 4K at 30 FPS if you are a purist and you like to still play in 30 FPS for maybe a more cinematic experience. But personally, I think, hey, you got a PS5, 60 FPS performance mode is definitely the way to go. Definitely provides a whole new vibe to the game overall, I think, which is definitely worthwhile. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, that's really it, there. So let's get into what I've been watching with that in mind. So keeping that Final Fantasy remake hype train going. I did pick up the Final Fantasy VII Advent Children 4K DVD that came out. Man, and mind you, it's been like I think, man, let me look up. I think it was 2006 when this came out. I believe it was 2006. Let me double check. 2005. So 2005 came out, and basically a lot of the Final Fantasy VII development people, Yoshinori Kitase, who produced the original Final Fantasy VII, Tetsuya Nomura, who of course is the artist and designer of the original Final Fantasy VII, and of course the other numerous Final Fantasy games. Yeah, so all Japanese, all those people behind it, it was bound to be some damn just greatness, fire, just anything you could, just orgasm, because that's sure as hell what this movie was, man. It's a lot I forgot about it. At least having only watched it when it came out in 2005, and I think this was definitely during the whole Final Fantasy VII hype, I guess, resurgence. I think there was some term they used for this whole Final Fantasy VII. I think it was an anniversary or whatever, because I think they released this movie, Final Fantasy VII remake, no, Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core, which was the PSP game that had Zack, where you play as Zack Fair, and then Dirge of Cerberus, which I think came out roughly in that same year time frame, I want to say. So, but man, if you was a Final Fantasy VII fan, you was eating during this time. Let me tell you, I do recall playing Crisis Core when it came out too. But man, this movie, so much to love about it. And I think they added some things. I think this cut, at least that I watched, because it's some aspects I don't remember. But then again, it was a lot I don't remember about the movie after not watching it since then. But I just did not realize how freaking dope this movie was. But it was, man. Just the choreography, the fights, oh my god. I mean, this is what 15, 16-year-old movie. So I mean, spoilers for this 16-year-old movie, but man, you know what? I'm not gonna spoil it because it's so good. Maybe people haven't seen it, but either way, the fight towards the end, man. I mean, okay. I mean, is it really a spoiler? I don't think so. But I mean, it depends. Possible spoilers, I guess. But freaking Sephiroth in a Cloud fighting again, and and just all this 3D choreographed goodness. It's so good. Oh my god, it was like my nipples were hard the whole time watching. I couldn't. That should be like a movie review. You know, putting it on the back of the box. My nipples were so hard watching the whole movie. Oh, that's funny. My nipples were hard the whole movie. 10 out of 10. Or what they do it the opposite. My nipples were hard the whole movie. 0 out of 10. No, that would be like a Steam review. My nipples were hard the whole movie. 0 out of 10. Hard nipples aside. In fact, I even have to say that. Yeah, highly recommended if you're a fan of Final Fantasy VII and haven't watched it. I'm very curious. I want to get into some of the bonus DVD stuff that I know it has, like summary of Final Fantasy VII. I'm assuming just like a kind of a look back documentary of the mass appeal Final Fantasy VII has had on this, you know, as a whole, and things like that, which I'm definitely yearning to dig into as well. So, highly recommend Final Fantasy VII Advent Children if you haven't watched it. I think it is on sale currently on Amazon, the 4K DVD, if you have the proper equipment for it. I think it's like $20. Let me do a quick little live search. Yeah, damn. $18.59 on Amazon right now. I'm mad. I bought it at full price. It was like 30. We could have saved a little bit. But either way, hey, I do recommend it. Then of course, Loki, man. This second episode that premiered this week was pretty damn good. I'm really have to say I'm very much digging the kind of crime thriller, almost Law and Order-esque vibe to it, but you know, with the Marvel spin. It's been pretty fun. We know we do find out who the person is that's been revealing or been causing this havoc, and like, I guess, taking these time grenades. And then, you know, that basically comes to revelation towards the end, and then sets up some very interesting prospects for the third episode, which is pretty awesome. I am really digging this show. I'm very curious of where it's gonna go, but so far thoroughly enjoying Loki. I have to say, I again do recommend it. Marvel is not missing, man. With these TV shows, they are not missing. It's like they can't. It's like they can't miss. I don't get it. But all in all, that's pretty much episode 109 of Switches Sites podcast. Thanks for listening or watching. Greatly appreciate it. If you want to like, rate, or subscribe on your respective platforms, please do. Greatly appreciate it as well. You can catch me recording this live on Twitch TV/aswitch as well. Ideally during the evenings. You can also catch the archives of this as well on youtube.com/aswitch. Also for the YouTube fans, folks, whatnot. Until then, y'all, till next time. Oh yeah, get your game on. Nobody's safe.